Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video for the bow trainer. In this video we're going to do an unboxing. We're going to show you how to use it and how to install it on your instrument. So let's flip over the camera and take a look. Alright, so this is it. This is the bow trainer. So if we have a look inside, it comes in a carry tin. The tin is very useful, so hang on to it. I actually place mine in the tin in my violin case. I use a carbon fiber shaped violin case, and I have no issues with fitting it in the top compartment. Alright, so let's open it up. So inside we've got a little card from the bow trainer company giving us the website details and for us to go there if we need any more product and warranty information. Internally you'll find the device itself, a micro USB charging cable, and the installation putty. So the charging cable is a micro USB. The device has an internal rechargeable battery, and in our testing we've had over 20 hours of playing time, and really if you practice a lot and use this device a lot, you're still going to find a significant time before it is in need of charging. Okay, so the dimensions of the device, we have a length on this edge of 3 centimeters. We have a length on this edge of just under 5.5 centimeters and a width of 7 millimeters. And you'll find that this sizing is suitable for all viola and all violin sizing, and we'll talk a little bit more about how to install it on the device, and depending on the size of your instrument, the best placement for that. Now, to switch the device on, press the on button and you'll see the LED indicators lighting up to tell you that the device is now on. So the lights are 3 different colors. We've got green, orange, and red, and depending on where your bow is will, I guess, light up where you are. Now, if you're doing a more sort of rudimentary level where you're just practicing bowing straight, green is good, I guess, if you want to do like a contact point that's in the middle. If you want to develop certain contact points, then you're aiming to stay solid orange or solid red or something along those lines. You'll find as well that at certain points you'll have 2 lit up, which is to tell you that you're in between both. Now on the front as well, we've got 3 sensors. These are important to keep track of where they are because they will help with install. And then the other thing is to notice that we've got a blue indicator line, which is just showing you, and a great way to help you work out where the center of the device is. Alright, so let's get to the installation, and for the sake of install I've actually got my device that I've been using for several months now. Now with the putty I like to use 2 dots on either side. Again, this is going to take some tweaking from your end, but there are some principles that we want to make sure that we follow. One is that you don't want the device itself to touch the instrument, and the reason for that is you might get some vibrations and things like that. Secondly, when placing it on the instrument, it's very important to be light, and just to place it on there with a minimal amount of pressure. Too much pressure can cause maybe damage to the instrument if you crack it or something like that. Again, that would be fairly excessive force, but this device doesn't really need any of that to stick on. Now in our testing, we have tried this on a number of different varnishes. We've tried it on spirit, the oil, and like a student polyurethane instrument as well, and we've had no issues with it going on and off. But yes, I should reiterate, please be very gentle when placing it on. So if we have a look here, we can see that the 3 sensors are on this side of the device. Now what we want is we want the 3 sensors to be on the closest side to the string. Now, the great thing about this particular device is depending on the size of your instrument, you have the ability to put it on either side. Now, if you have a smaller violin, for example, you're going to be limited to putting it on one side, as when you bow the E string, the bridge height might be too low and actually scrape the device. There would be no harm in doing that, but it's not an ideal situation. So we would put it on the bass side of the instrument or the side with the lowest string. Now, depending as well on whether you use a side mounted or perhaps a center chin rest, you might find that it's more convenient to have it on this side, or potentially depending on how you look at your music. So if your angle of viewing is this way or this way, that can determine on which side of the instrument you would like it. So for my personal preference, I prefer it on this bass side of the instrument. Okay, so what I do is I line it up where the blue line is, and you direct it straight down to the opposite side. So for my instrument, the center of the F hole where the circle is, I aim directly for the other side and a light press. All right, and that's all it is. So let's turn it on. And we're ready to go. And so you'll see, there it is. It doesn't obstruct the bow. It's in plain view for C, and it stays on there with no problems whatsoever. So when we're bowing, again, sorry about the pencil, but when we're bowing, it still lights up, and you can see, and I'll just angle a little bit so you can see what happens when you go off track with your bow. It's important to note for these, the response time is not too fast, and if it was too fast, you'd find that it'd be very hard to follow and register your movements. And if it's too slow, you'll find it's not quick enough to see what you're actually doing. So the response time, I find, is that nice balance between too fast and too slow to give you enough time to register what's happening, but not so slow that it seems like it's unresponsive. All right, so let's also put it on a smaller instrument so we can see how it works. Okay, so here we have a 1/8 violin, and this is one of the smaller size violins that you'll find. And let's see how the device goes on an instrument of this size. So one thing that I didn't mention with the other previous one is to make sure that the instrument is clean before installation. All right, so let's see how we go. So we line up the blue. Now, depending on the instrument, it's probably also worth mentioning, the more you practice and the more you try, you might find an optimal sound point, and the one you want your green indicator light could shift. So perhaps you have a violin, its optimal sound point is here, or perhaps you have it here. Ultimately, it's up to you. And working out what best suits your violin, but this device gives you the flexibility to be able to do that. All right, so we've placed it on the instrument, and you'll see that the lights actually extend past the fingerboard. And this is actually a good thing because it helps students who are at this age and this size to understand the concept of playing over the fingerboard, and it helps them to direct them back to where they need to go. Now, the other thing that's really good about this device, and it's unlike anything else that's ever come out, is that it doesn't lock your bow in place. So the existing products that are used to train the bow involve some sort of clamping or perhaps some guides for the bow to sit in. And I know when I was a student, I actually put straws straight through the F-holes, and all I would do as a young kid is just rest my bow on it, and it didn't actually help me understand what I needed to do in order to bow straight. And so really those sorts of devices end up being more of a crutch than anything else, whereas this is something that is there to train and to guide the student. All right, and so when removing, just pull it off. Now, if there is any residual sort of amounts of the putty there, they can be easily taken off with use, and it can take it off no problem. But we can see there that the varnish is left without a mark and without a trace. As we can see, this is a very simple device for students, parents and teachers to use. Please check out our other video going into further depth into the technical and pedagogical benefits of using this device, and that can be seen at www.firstrings.com.au.